Hey everybody, welcome back to the design stream for Kids in Capes. And this is our second episode, which we are entitling World Building, despite John's objection that it should be Snail Talk. I'll let him explain why, but...
Listen, when I get to type notes, they're going to be nonsense.
Okay. Yeah, this is why I generally do the typing.
Accurate.
I am Doug Lewandowski. I use he, him pronouns. And this week we're talking about our favorite superhero team. But since Kristen is, and I share our favorite superhero team, I will share my first favorite superhero team, which was X Factor, the Havoc, Polaris, Multiple Man, Strong Guy, Wolfsbane, and Quicksilver team.
I almost chose X Factor.
Okay.
It was real close.
And then next up we have Jonathan Gilmore.
Yeah, hello, I'm Jonathan Gilmore. My pronouns are he, him. And my favorite team is, it's a real close tie. I'm going to have to go with Runaways. It was going to be Gen X. Generation X is also way up there, but I love Runaways. The first run of that was fantastic. And then let's hear from Morgan.
Hello, I'm Morgan. I thought I was muted. Apparently I'm not. Hi, I'm Morgan. My pronouns are they, them, she, her interchangeably. Yeah, favorite team? Mm-hmm. My first frame went to Kick-Ass, but they're not really like superheroes per se. But also my brain's going to the Fantastic Four. So, yeah. Who am I passing the ball to? Who's on my list?
It's me.
Kristen.
Hi, Morgan.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I use she, her pronouns. My favorite superhero team is probably Guardians of the Galaxy. Austin, you're up.
Oh, you're muted.
Hi, I'm Austin. I was muted. And I was looking at the notes page, so I knew it was my turn, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm muted." My pronouns are he, they, and she, whichever one you fancy for the evening. And my favorite superhero team is the X-Men team, when it was all women. When it was Storm, Rogue, Jubilee, Kitty, Pryde, Rachel, Grey, and Psylocke. And I'm handing the ball over to Nick to take us home. Well, we're not ending yet. But like, the intro.
No, that's it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
My name is Nick. My pronouns are he, him. My favorite team would be the Claremont new X-Men team, the classic Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Wolverine, Banshee, that group.
That was a good group.
Yeah.
A lot of X-Men teams are good teams, I feel. A lot of us just like X-Men in general.
Well, so not to sidetrack too much, but one thing I read recently was that like the big difference between like Marvel and DC is that Marvel characters are all total screw ups, except for like one thing that they're really, really, really good at.
Yeah.
Like they're dysfunctional. They like, it's amazing that they work. So they like need that team to bring them all together. Whereas DC characters are perfect except for that one thing. Like Superman can do everything except there's kryptonite. Like Flash can do everything. He can turn back time except for, I don't know what Flash's weakness is.
He trips.
He runs really fast.
My favorite thing is anytime Flash fails, it's like a trip, it like closes up on his feet and he like breaks an ankle. And I'm like, man, you think he'd pick up his feet more. You think he'd have learned to pick up his feet.
Maybe some ankle guards or something.
Like Bruce Wayne can't hit him with some ankle guards.
Also, just a random side note, JB put the snail video into the chat.
Did he? Aw, you're the best, JB.
Yeah, so to explain that, Morgan had posted that snail video into our Zoom chat, and that's all we talked about for a very long time, to the point of almost just derailing the entire stream tonight.
We're professionals.
This is how it works.
We've decided to change the game to Snails and Capes. Superhero snails.
All right, time to look up snail facts.
All right.
Kids in shells.
Kids in shells.
Oh.
Confirmed. You heard it here first.
Hey, I got something for that one. They all wield different ninja weapons.
Oh yeah.
So
Nobody took that as their favorite superhero team. That's another good one.
That's true. It is another good one.
Yep.
So we would like to start by thanking our moderators over on Twitch for their generally thankless, but not right now, work, all of their great efforts. We couldn't do what we do without what you all are doing. So we really appreciate you. Round of applause for the mods.
Yay.
And this is our second episode. If you're just tuning in for the first one, if you're just tuning in having not seen the first one, our first one is up on YouTube now. I think the mods had, JB had mentioned the mods were going to drop a link to that into the chat there, so you should be able to have that on Twitch if you want to go check that out, or if you want to rewatch it, or tell your friends, hey, you should watch this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. All right, well, last time when we left, everybody had a couple pieces of homework. One was to watch some things. So maybe we'll do a quick reporting out of that, and then we'll get to the other homework everybody had. So who would like to start with what they were taking a look at?
I can talk.
Am I only doing the nose ghost game? Come on, y'all.
I'm not on this screen. What are we doing? I watched. I actually speaking of TMNT, I started watching Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Because it's the newest turtle lineup, and I hadn't watched it yet, and they put it on. They have season 1 on Paramount Plus. So I started watching that, and it is a very good like refresh of like the turtle story. It is very much not the turtles from. Definitely, it's odd because it's closer to the 80s turtles. But it feels also a lot like the 2000s turtles. So it's like a weird marriage of those two. Clearly from like a team that probably had like older cousins that showed them the 80s turtles when they were kids, and then like the 2000 turtles came out when they were kids, and we're watching both. So it's I highly recommend it because it's like funny and goofy, but has these like serious moments. The biggest change they have is Splinter is goofy. Like you do not get like serious stoic Splinter. You get like, I won't give it away, but there's a reason why Splinter is so goofy.
Interesting.
Besides to just fit the world, and it's like it's interesting. It's like a goofier world, but the villains are still really serious, and it's just like, what if the villains were like the villains from like the original comic and serious, and the turtles were like goofy teenagers from the 80s, like
Yeah.
Listen, bro. So that's what I watched to get like in the mood, so to speak.
Okay. I've been watching Young Justice. I think I'm 7 or 8 episodes in. I don't get the TV much in my house because I have a 3.5-year-old. But the rule is when I am working out, I get to put whatever I want on the TV. But not really, because whatever I watch, she's going to watch. So Fear Street, not yet. But so that's good for her. And she has a lot of questions about it. And so it led to a couple good conversations about like, see what the problem is there. They're not working together. Robin's just going off and doing his thing. He's not communicating with the group. They got to talk to each other. So what do you do with the team? Work together as a team. Good job. I'm proud of you. High five. So
Robin's doing what Robin always does. Okay.
Robin's doing what Robin always does. Yeah, and then they have like a little thing where Aqualad's like, well, you know, it's because you usually work with Batman and you two have a routine down. It's like, that's not the issue here. Robin's just kind of being a jerk. But yeah, I'm into it so far. I also appreciate Robin repeatedly talking about like breaking down words.
It's so good.
That's great. Why is nobody ever just whelmed?
It's so funny. He does that for so many words, and it's like I don't want to give too much away, but there's a through line through the show, even like when they get older, because eventually like they grow up a little bit, and he does it as like an older teen, and it's hilarious.
Yeah. I was hoping this would just be an Aster, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. So that's what I've been watching.
Nice.
I watched 6 episodes of Avatar.
Yay.
Morgan's like, I'm gonna get off my fucking back.
Stop talking to me about it. It's delightful. I'm enjoying it. Thank y'all for, yeah.
You're welcome.
I watched the entire first season of Invincible.
Yes.
I did not know anything about it going in. Someone said, maybe all y'all said this, but I remembered Nick saying, that one's not for kids. So I did not put it on for my almost 8-year-old. Thank
Good.
you.
That's a good call.
Thank
That's a
you.
very good call.
It started and I was like, well, it's animated and this is probably going to be fine for my kid.
Mm-hmm.
And then things happened and I was like, oh, this may not be fine for me. But it was a great show. A lot more violence than I expected, but maybe we won't be bringing that piece to Kids in Capes, but still a very good show. So
J.K. Simmons is fantastic in it.
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm.
Everybody was, all the actors.
I'm very glad you didn't put it on for 8-year-olds. I'm very glad that you heard us say not for kids, and you remember that, because I would have felt very bad if you were like in the designer chat, like, "Hey guys, what the hell?"
I probably let my 12-year-old watch more of it than she should have, but
I feel like there's a big difference between almost 8 and 12. So yeah,
for sure.
So everybody? Did everybody do that homework?
Nick, John?
So I watched the first half of the first season of Steven Universe. I rewatched it. I just never finished it all, so I just started back from the beginning.
Nice.
It's fantastic. Delightful.
So I'm working on Invincible 2 with my wife, and I have to say, there's a funny story that I actually have read 3 issues of Invincible, issue 1, 14, and I forget the other one. And I was stunned by what I saw, because the stuff I read was like, oh, it never really captured my interest, because like, oh, this is a very lighthearted thing. And then I watched the first episode of Invincible, like, wow, I didn't get to that issue. I got that issue. I'd have read the entire series. So
you started with issue 114?
One.
Oh.
Then I read
okay.
I got issue 14. Then I got to read this another one. And it's like, so I just got these stray issues and I read them. But I didn't really. It's like I got totally a different snapshot of the show than what it really is.
It's probably start to finish one of my favorite comic series ever. The comic book is I'm so excited for where the show is going to go.
And then I started reading the Champions books Doug lent me.
Nice.
I got to hand it to I forget the writer's name. I really got to hand it to him. The first author took Mephisto and made him a real character. Mephisto's always I call him Captain Plot Device, because he's an editor. He comes in and when something screws up, they bring him in as like, this is the editing character that's going to fix everything.
Right.
But he actually did something genuinely evil, and I was like, wow, this is wow. I guess so. The writer, I forget his
Jim Zub.
Yeah, Jim Zub's fantastic.
Great. I want to shake his hand. Congratulations. Literally the first time I've read something. And then I started reading Ms. Marvel, but thanks to my wife's stellar skills in sorting her collection, I read the wrong issue 5. So I just read the right issue 5. I was like, wait, where did all these quotes come from? But no, that's great too. So,
Marvel's renumbering is the true villain of Marvel.
Yes.
I beg Marvel to please like pick a system and stick with it for more than 8 months.
Well, now at least they're having they have the legacy number.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah. So. All right. And then the second piece of homework was for everybody to come in with some ideas about world building and how to best do that. So
I probably should have prioritized that homework over the watching Steven Universe homework.
Yeah.
You said second part of homework? And my brain was like, Oh.
Is this the point where we're all in like before school started, we're all getting together and copying each other's notes and like
Did you do your homework? And you're like, yeah. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, what about the other assignment?
what?
Yeah.
I
Doug,
thought
do you have
Doug
notes
said
we
it
can
was
watch
extra
on?
credit.
I didn't know it was mandatory.
Doug leaves. We have failed. We have failed design class.
I thought I had another month before this started up again, but here we are.
No,
Welcome
we're,
to
we're
Cambridge.
basically children.
Yeah, I think we have a couple of, I think we can start with questions that probably seem obvious, but we have to start somewhere, right? Which is like,
If
Go ahead.
anybody, so I have a really, really rough, typed it up draft if we want to start there, if nobody else does.
Doug did his homework,
I
everybody.
think that's
So
a-
he's
Well, I have stuff in my head, but go off your draft.
yeah.
Okay.
go.
That's the
Yeah,
best
Doug's like one of
place
those
to
people like,
start.
oh, what about this homework though? And we're like, no, shut up, Doug. What are you talking
Is that
All
in Doug's rough docs?
Yes. So I will, JB, are we able to share screen or will that ruin everything? Okay, cool. Okay.
I think if we want to, Doug, we can share this with no write access.
Yes.
You want me to do
So-
that? I'll drop that in the Zoom chat and then
Oh, okay, got it.
Zoom chat. Okay.
Powers that be.
I'm just hopping over the document there.
All right.
Is there
Yeah, so John, are you able to drop the link in the chat?
yeah, I'm working on it right now. I'm changing it to viewer only so people can't just edit.
Oh, come on, John.
I think I already got that.
Oh, we all have the ability to edit. All right,
I'm
coming
just
in the
teasing.
Zoom chat.
So, so one thing that I was thinking about is, and John mentioned this last time, one of my favorite pieces of world building in terms of establishing tone of the game is the thing we did in Teens in Space, where all of that's done by creating your ship. So that off of that, you sort of know what kind of technology you're working with, you know what kind of, it just sort of builds things out indirectly, though pretty directly. And so I was wondering if there was a way to do that. And I'm not sure if this works or not, but I started by thinking about that with just by building the town, we might be able to do that. So in the doc here, I thought there were a couple questions you should probably answer as a group, but then shifting over to the world building where one person in the group would answer the question. And if anybody's like, no, then that could be a conversation. But sort of putting that on individuals. So the questions would be, to start as a group, what year do you want the campaign to take place in? How serious or silly do you want the campaign to be? And cool. And then what kinds of adventures or missions do you envision your team going on? And I wasn't sure if those second and third questions were a little bit redundant, but
Just to throw something out there, could describing their base, their superhero base, could that be a possibility too? Just I'm not married to it, but just throwing to give the idea.
I like that. If so, I think that's if we're everybody has their powers already and they're already a team.
Right.
Yeah, if everyone has their powers already, that's a great idea.
I think it also, I think it could be because we talked a little bit about if you don't start with powers, you still kind of pick them and it'll be a narrative thing.
Right.
You will get this meta as a player because that's what you want. I'm not going to take it from you.
Mhm.
So it could be this is the base you will get. And maybe it's not the first base you have. Maybe the DM is and you find your headquarters and it's an abandoned gas station, Static and Gear. And everyone's oh, this isn't what we built. And over time, and as they do missions and as they meet adult heroes or, save, Miss America or whatever it is, their game is they oh, they give you a teleporter pad or whatever it is that they wanted.
Well, so I guess my question is, we talked last week about the focus kind of being on the origin stories.
Mm-hmm.
Is it maybe before they would have that stuff established? I mean, if we want to focus on them like being kids in a small town that are just discovering their superpowers, maybe the question is more, where do you meet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or where do you and your friends hang out?
Or what are the circumstances that you
Yeah. I also
Or-
have somehow I thought of Buffy, and like whenever they went to the library, met Giles, and like from there Buffy
Mhm.
learned. I don't know why my brain went Buffy, but it did.
Mhm.
They're a superhero team.
Yeah,
They are.
Absolutely.
I consider it a superhero show. Yeah.
I think a couple of good questions maybe to consider as a group is, are superpowers well known? So is this where everyone has, is this My Hero Academia? Everyone has a superpower. You're pretty much born
Mhm.
with it. Is it the Nevers? An event happened and now certain people got it, but everyone is aware. Are you the first?
Well, so maybe that's like an upfront question, because I think there's some good upfront questions here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
like
that's
that one in there.
that's sort of what I was getting to with the second and the third question in the later list that answered by individuals. So like the most revered person in our town, if there are superpowers, chances are it's going to be somebody with superpowers, right? But I'm not sure if that's too indirect or if that.
I think it is open enough for people at the table to decide, like, are we the first superheroes? Are we the second, are we the first generation, are we second generation? Is it just like a Marvel world where there are people have superpowers?
It's just a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
is
it's
it
a
a
genetic
DC?
thing, yeah.
Is it a DC world where like there are superpowers, but it's still like exciting when it happens? Like, I feel like then like when I look at the big two superheroes, right? Like Marvel, it's like a thing.
Mhm.
It's like barely a big deal. And in DC, it's like a very big deal when someone is like actually super powered and not like a
Yeah.
Batman or something.
Mhm.
Mhm. So I think Doug has some good questions here to start with that are pretty straightforward. So in what year do you want the campaign to take place?
Mhm.
That's great. How serious or silly do you want the campaign to be?
Right.
What kinds of adventures, mission do you envision your team going on in this campaign? So I think what other expectation setting question should we ask up front? Because I think that's kind of where this section lands, right?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just trying to think through, is this the place to ask, or do we even want to ask? Are these adventures going to take, like, how big is the world you're building? Is there a galaxy and we're gonna fight in space like an Invincible? Or are we Batman in Gotham and we're never leaving the town?
Or a Legion of Superheroes showing me.
Yeah.
Should those maybe be sub questions of what year do you want the campaign to take place?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Or does that fall under, can we add something to what kinds of adventures, missions?
Oh yeah. Let's kind of talk
Yeah.
about that right in there.
Yeah.
One I thought of is so if we're looking at it as being like a town or a city, I don't know if this might be too straightforward, because it's still like up to people if there are a lot of superpowers or not, but like who's like not necessarily the groups, but like the town's main antagonist.
Yeah, I think Doug has that down below. The person or people most feared in our town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the world building questions itself, yeah.
Let me look at the questions, y'all, and then I'll come up with real questions.
Yeah, like I like how open-ended like these questions are to start with, like the tone, the era, or the time frame, where we are in sort of like genre of superhero-ness.
Yeah, I think checking in with everybody is real important and finding out like what kind of story people want to tell.
Oh, one hundo.
Yes.
one question. Again, this is me delving into the genre. Is there a lot of the different? Is there a Superman type? Is there a Superman Omni-Man type character versus not? Because that could have. Well, how profound an effect would that have on the world design or world building would be my question.
Yeah, so powers are a little bit more mundane, or if they're
because like Marvel doesn't really have the Marvel universe doesn't really have a Superman character,
No.
and I think it's very different as a result of that.
And anytime they do, it's always like very like they had Sentry, and it was like, yeah, but he's also
but they shove him
terrible.
they shove they have him, but they shove them off screen very
Yes.
I have a question from the audience. Do comic books, movies, TV shows exist in this genre of our game? It's so meta, but like, do y'all think?
That's good.
I think
That's
it's good. I think that's a
Yeah, that's a good
would that
question.
be a question for them to ask themselves? Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that's a sub question. Are superpowers and heroes established in your world?
Mhm.
How are super powered? If yes.
Yeah, and it was in a Champions game I played in. They didn't have superhero books, or well, I think he said they had superhero books, but they're all fictional characters because the companies that tried to do real books with the real villains and heroes, or especially the real villains, tended to get attacked by the villains because they didn't like the way they were presented in the comics. So it was not a good. It was not a good career path in that world. You know?
Yeah. So if yes, how are superpowered people seen? Are there comics? Are they idolized?
Oh, if they're idolized, that's just
That's
gonna
a
mean,
good one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because that reminds me very much of God, what is that show called? Set in Tulsa, The Watchmen.
Yeah.
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 I was like, hold on. Oh God, I'm trying to backwards reverse Googling my brain.
Do we want to also wrap into this? Are superpowers and heroes established? Do we want to talk about power level, do you think, or is that too meta?
Well, I thought that given that they were starting out, that I was going to mention that, but then I thought, well, if they're starting out, kind of that sort of sets the level, doesn't it? I mean,
well, but if we're starting out as, you know, the Teen Titans, but Superman exists in this world, like there's a radical imbalance as opposed to if, you know, the most powerful villains are like Batman villains, and we're starting out as Teen Titans.
You know what's a good media to think about as well is Into the Spider-Verse, where Miles is like, oh yeah, Spider-Man died, and then like Spider-Man was idolized and existed in the world already.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why like the idea of if there are hero, I think like a good sub question of like if there are superheroes, what generation?
Mm-hmm.
Like has there been one set already and you're the second set, or are you like, you know, 6th, 7th, 8th, like generation of hero? Like
pulling in from Mass, for example, I don't know how many people have read through Mass. They have different generations of like the golden era is like the first generation of superheroes, and like the silver, and then like I don't remember
bronze.
what the bronze, and then like
modern.
Yeah, modern.
Yeah.
It's the rating they use for like comics IRL.
Yeah, so describe the comic era.
So if a table is deciding that superheroes already exist, then I feel like there are a few questions then, right? They would answer if they go that way, versus if superheroes do not yet exist, then what follow-up questions, if any, do we give them for that?
How do you get your powers?
Yeah, good question.
There it is.
Is it? Oh, you know what? Another show that reminded me of is like I think first generational is Misfits, the BBC show that was on.
Oh
yeah.
I think it's like Electrical Storm or something, and like that's how everybody got like their powers. Whoever got powers. Yeah.
Like, I've been playing. I also been playing the Avengers game recently because it was $20, so I grabbed it.
Yeah.
And so that's interesting because I mean, like heroes are a thing. All of a sudden, that game they're it's so funny because they do the thing that I love when Marvel does this, where like there are comics in the world that are like fictional retellings of the superheroes' lives.
The single player on that game was so good. It's one of the best Marvel stories told in a long time.
It's been so much fun to play. This is such an aside, but I'm not a huge, like, I really loved playing as Kamala, and then I'm like doing these like Iron Man missions, and I'm like, I don't want to fucking be Tony Stark. I want to be Kamala Khan.
It has a thing that I really want to capture in this, and I think that a lot of superhero stuff miss. And I remember very distinctly this moment of being in the it's not the danger room, but whatever the simulation where you can practice.
Harm room,
the harm room, and like I'm getting overwhelmed, and just out of nowhere, like Hulk plows through all the guys that are attacking me, and like that to me is the core of what we really need to capture, is like learning about the team and trying to grow as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And trying to like
and
always
those
being
like
able to
really
help each
fun
other.
interactions.
I had that happen too. Is I was playing some mission. It was like I was Kamala Khan and like Hulk was with me, and I was down. I was like needed to be revived by a teammate, and I hadn't had this happen yet in the game. So I was like, oh, I guess I lost because I don't have a player 2 who's actually here. And then I heard Hulk yell like watch out or something, and he like threw the guy that was punching me and like picked me up, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Those
Hulk's
moments
got
are so
my
good.
back.
That's so good.
And so I really enjoy that, and I really do want ways to capture that, like ways for like you to. So something I think about in this genre is a lot of the games have ways where you are like you're out of the fight now, especially because like there's not like a lot of the games in this genre that do when you're like a teen or a younger hero, like you're not an adult, like shy away from like the HP stuff. And I know we've already talked about like we want to do something like that, but there aren't a lot of ways like if your teammate gets overwhelmed, like they're just out of the scene. There's not a ways like unless your GM kind of like bends the rules, there's not like one of the teammates can Hail Mary save them and like get them back in the fight. They're just like they're out. That's like how it's supposed to work as written for most of them. And I agree with you, John. Like I want a way that's like you teammate or whatever, like you two that had this scene together, that had this bond, like you can save them right now and like turn this around.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Are there any other if yes questions for our super powers and heroes villains established in your world?
If yes, okay. So is the if yes question meaning like, sorry, just to clarify, because my brain's like, what? If yes, there are superpowers that are in the world, is that right? Is that the one we're going with? Okay. Maybe Hal has
how
having
do people gain their
supers.
powers?
No, well that's
what, Oh, sorry, that's what Doug's typing right now.
Yeah. No, it's more like how has technology, because it's another question kind of like in the chat I think I saw, is how has that affected technology?
I wonder if that's its own question that we should find out about is what is the technology level of the world?
Yeah, because like, for example, it could be the 1960s, like Batman, or at least Gotham, rather, it's very 1920s, like building and architecture and like cars, but the technology is like very like now.
Right.
Yeah. Bruce
Wayne has like a nanotech car that turns into a robot and makes him tea.
Well, just in general in the DC universe, it's clear that the technology, the world's noticeably different because of the superheroes and their effect they've had on stuff. Whereas in Marvel, it's just our world kind of.
Yeah, like everything's pretty much the same unless you're in Tony Stark's house.
Yeah, right. Exactly, right, yeah. It's localized. Yeah, that's it's very localized.
Like everyone else has iPhones, and Tony Stark's like, oh, I have a computer that I put in my pinky toe that lets me Google from my car.
Yeah.
That's my favorite Tony Stark power. So maybe do we put that question, do you think, before our superpowers and heroes established?
That's a good question.
I feel like the technology level is sort of like answered not answered, but like we get, if there are no superpowers, superheroes, supervillains in the world, the technology level is the technology level, probably, right? Like if it's the 1960s, it's the 1960s tech. But if there are superheroes, then are they sharing that tech, or is it like they've just got it, they keep it to themselves, they don't share it with the world, so it's the same except for Tony Stark Googling from his pinky toe.
So yeah, I guess would it be under yes, there are superheroes, would one of the questions be like, how is the world different? Like, yes, there are superheroes, and then one of them be like, how is the world is like, because I'm of two minds. It could be like, is the world different? If yes, how? Or I want to just like let people figure that out organically and not ask them pointedly. Because I'm like, I don't know if that matters when they're setting up the world as much.
Yeah.
Personally. But I also see like why it does matter.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see both too, Austin. Like, how is the world different can be answered organically. I think technology could be important because how are we communicating as a team? Do we have open comms? Are we picking up a payphone? Are we writing letters? Like, how are we?
Is someone a psychic? We got a psychic
Does
going
someone
on?
have
Right.
a bird, like a bird they can
Yeah,
listen
like
to, and
how-
like
Right. How are we doing that? And then, how easy. The other thing is too, is, if, well, I guess this is under a yes, but my thought is like, how easy is it for folks to just be videotaping, but recording us from their phones? Does any of, are we putting too many restrictions and asking too many questions now when this can unfold organically? I guess.
I think some of it can unfold, but I do think there's some interesting space here in the world building, especially like because if you're really starting in media res and you and the group want to tell the story about a world that already has superheroes in them, but like they're restricted or monitored or like I think there's some things that are not necessarily going to come up organically that could be addressed here.
And one of the things that usually happens when we're doing world building questions is we make like 2 or 3 times as many as wind up in the final cut. And then
Okay.
we pare it down and we merge them together. Like,
Yeah, especially when
technology-
we play test it and
Right.
so
see
basically we're throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks.
it. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you can delete that
Yeah.
question, Doug. Any other like expectation setting questions that people can think of?
Did we want to do the if no ones then, or?
I mean, I think if no, then you just go on to the next thing, right? Because like if superheroes aren't established, the world's pretty much the way it is right now, and you're going to get your powers and
Oh, and that's going to
Answer
just
all
happen
those
in
questions.
game and like, yeah,
Right,
okay.
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I think if you're in a group that wants to have that happen organically, the answer is just no.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think Jonathan's got it right down right in the money there.
I'm just gonna make a note saying if no, then like.
Oh yeah.
If no, then figure it out yourselves, punks.
Jump to the next section.
No,
Definitely
go to
figure
page.
it out yourself, punks, is what we need to put in the final version of this game.
Readers like it when you're very aggressive to them.
Yeah, yeah. We know how to get fans.
I'm a professional, I swear.
My head thought you were saying you're professional because you swear, and I'm like, okay, Morgan, some people don't swear. It's okay.
Yeah, unprofessional people.
Oh, you professional people.
Yeah, professional.
I walk into me and I'm like, what the fuck is up?
One of my colleagues at work says you can tell how secure someone is in their position by how much swearing they do at work. Yeah.
I mean, that's true for me when I'm doing day job stuff with a client. If I'm like been meeting with them for like a year or two, I'll be like, yeah, man, that fucking sucks. It sounds like garbage.
Morgan, I thought you were going to type, if no, figure it out in game, grow up.
Look, I'm not that snarky, okay?
You're not babies, you'll figure it out.
Yo, you're grown
Oh,
people.
God. Okay, so what if this book was like a notebook and that was typed out and then we like cross it out and put what we really wanted to say?
Yes. Like the whole book itself, which is designed like a journal.
You know, like a journal from somebody that's like, here's how to make a superhero.
Pay attention, Matt. It's coming your way.
All
I
right,
think
so
those are
then,
good questions.
yeah, so then maybe let's go into the individual questions. Doug, do you want to kind of break these down into all and each like we have historically, or do we want to?
Yeah, so normally what we do is we figure out what we need to duplicate for different numbers of players. I think we don't have any, I'm flipping through the books right now.
Yeah.
I don't think we have ones that are everybody answers to repeat. Oh, well, there's the rumor about the town. That's one that everybody always answers. But I don't know that that's appropriate here. Yeah.
So these are all, everything you have here is pretty much all.
Yeah, everything here is just one person would answer it and then it would pass around.
Yeah, like you do for the
Mhm.
for kids on bikes. Okay.
Yeah.
Our campaign takes place in blank.
Yep.
The person or people most revered in our town is okay. So that's like if they were a superhero, that we could put that. If
Right.
not, we could just put like the mayor or
Right.
Yeah.
Same thing with the person or people most feared in our town is blank. The most shocking crime in our town's recent history was blank. In which I think this is very neutral in the fact that you can actually use it for like souped up storyline or not.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Which I like. And then it goes more into our town's main industry is blank. Economically, our town is blank. A secretive group in our town is. Yeah, we can keep that. I mean, I was just like,
I mean,
That
so
still
many of
fits.
these, so many of these fit for having superheroes.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. A notable local landmark is blank. Our town school mascot is blank. Is that it? That's it.
Did we want to put in the where do you meet or where do kids hang out or something like that?
Oh, I like Hangout.
Where is a local hangout? Or where?
Yeah.
Hello, fellow cool kids. Where do you?
Where's
hang
the
out?
spot?
Where's the spot?
Where's the spot, yo? Where's the whose block? Like which pizza parlor? Which arcade? Like
Yeah.
where are we vibing
Where-
after school?
Where are we vibing?
Where are you hepcats getting jiggy, right? That's what the kids are saying.
Yeah.
Please write just that.
I tried, everybody.
No, you did good. You did good. I think. I don't know. I'm not cool.
Yeah, Doug did bad.
Trying to think of more any other questions that are really good for building.
Are there any standard kids on bikes questions that we're missing here? That
No,
work good?
those look like the.
That's it, I think.
Let
Yeah, I
me
started
pull
with
up the
the
book
standard
real
list.
quick and go to page 5.
The
Adventure
other
takes
thing,
place. Oh, go ahead.
the other thing that we can think about in terms of number of questions is one thing, especially that we did in Teens in Space, was like giving context to those questions so that people understood what they were answering by answering that. So, like the faster than light travel thing was, we made it clear there, like by answering this, you're answering what kind, like the sort of like sci-fi that you're going to be playing.
Right.
And so if some of these are like, well, I guess we could have one question, but people would need to understand X, then we just put in a note in there, like sort of an explanatory note saying, when answering this question, like the most shocking crime in our town's recent history was, a note in there saying like, as you're answering this, think about the level of violence that you want in the game, right? Like,
Yeah,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's a super good point.
Do we want to add more questions in for supered questions, or we think that just is that
Probably.
whatever?
I think so.
Or
Yeah.
I guess, should it be like if there are supers, like a little bar above it, like if you have super people in your setting already, like answer these, or
Yeah, like separate it
'cause-
out.
because like some people may be starting like these are the first superheroes ever,
Mhm.
so
Great. Yeah.
the answers in theory could be just like it'd just be like the party repeatedly, but they don't have the powers yet,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I would say if we do that though, we should probably take a look at having more questions for people to answer if there aren't superpowers, just so it's not like
Yeah,
you get a
An
more robust
imbalance.
world if there are superheroes.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other,
But I do think the questions change, yeah, if there aren't.
I
think you're right about that.
because I think like something to help people consider is like, even if the group is the only people with superpowers, like there are other conflicts and other things that can arise and other stuff that could be going on. There could be a different vigilante group that's just like
Mhm.
people.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're superheroes.
But how does local law feel about superheroes? Should that be one?
Yeah.
'Cause-
Mhm.
Yeah, there is how
Like
are
that one.
superheroes viewed, but yeah, I
Right.
think that's probably a little bit more zoomed in and good.
Yeah. One we can do if they want to go the no and we want to like have to be them the first ones group. A question we could probably ask, because everybody knows that they're going to be superheroes, like out of character. Like the players know that they're going to be
Right.
superheroes. Maybe they work together, like to figure out what that origin is, but they don't get to play it yet. They just know that this is the event that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like bouncing, like, okay, we're writing now, but it won't happen until like maybe like an episode or two end. That you're actually
Yeah.
going to be like, hey, you remember that electrical storm we talked about?
Mhm.
Yeah, we're going to finally do it.
Mm.
Well, it could be, if we don't want to go that far and have them like plan it, we could also do, like what strange events have been happening around town.
Ooh, I like that. Like something like
Yes.
leading up to it. Yeah.
Yes. Because if I'm a player, I want the GM to be spicy. I want to be surprised. Like I want. Listen, yes, I want my enhanced human reflexes and agility. It'll be exciting to figure out how I get them.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So do
true.
we want in the non-powered, or there aren't superheroes? Do we want to put it in there? Or
Yeah, like I think that question for if no, then how did Doug just say it? What strange events have been happening recently?
Yeah.
That's a super good question.
Oh,
Yeah.
Doug, you're so
And
smart.
Yeah, that's such a good question.
Have you done this before, Doug?
Yeah, Doug.
I have not.
Yeah.
What am I trying to think of?
Yeah, the if no. Okay.
Oh, okay.
not have there, right? What?
What
Do-
have they been? Yeah.
Could you? Okay. Could a question be about? I don't know why. I really want like a rival. Like if we're okay, is it either have this be a small town, not a city?
Could be either. Yeah.
Yeah, it could
Could
be.
be either.
Yeah, the options there, yeah.
Because I think of when I think of small town, I'm like, all right, well, who's the other small town you all hate?
Oh, like a rival
Yeah,
team.
like a
Yeah, like,
rival.
who's the rival town, right?
Yeah.
And that just like helps with,
Sunnyvale and
like,
Shadyville.
right. Like it just helps with like, I think that just helps with world building and thinking of like this like counter force, right? Like in I think Kids and Brooms, so there's just a question that's like, who's the rival school, right? Is that a question? Or did you just ask me that question?
I probably asked you that question. Let me just double check.
No, but that super should have been shit.
I didn't rival school in, but that's just me.
I remember we like built a rival school, and I didn't know if that was like a thing.
I think we're just talking about Silicon Valley, and it eventually just happened.
Okay, well, we built like a rival school, and it was pretty neat. And so I think the idea of like having like either like a rival, like a team, like a small town, I feel like always centered around like teams, like a rival, like some kind of counter force out there that's just like it's just like a bonding thing that you like made together, and then also something that
I think the rival town works. It was Parks and Rec, right? It was Eagleton. and-
Yes.
Mhm.
Eagle.
because it's something that I think can help with bonding the characters. Like if nothing else, even if like the table makes 4 different like people that it would like
Mhm.
never get along or whatever, they can be like, yeah, but like Eagleton sucks. Yeah, Eagleton sucks.
Yeah.
It's like Riverdale and where's Sabrina placed in?
I do not know. Sorry.
Mountainville.
No, it's not.
No.
I'm just
Wait,
thinking Nightvale and Desert Bluffs.
Where is?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
that's the one. That's the one. And that's a perfect example. 'cause
Greendale.
That's how, yeah, Greendale. That's how it works in Nightvale. Is like, Cecil,
Mhm.
like how he hates his brother-in-law for most of the show, but the one thing they can bond over is like when Desert Bluffs comes into
Yeah.
town to play them. They're like, he's like, I hate my brother-in-law, but I hate Desert Bluffs more.
Yeah, it's like whenever
Steve
you're
Is
watching
that Steve
Sabrina.
Carlsberg? Is that his brother-in-law?
Yes,
It's
Steve
been like a couple years since I looked at it.
Carlsberg.
Yeah, when you're watching Sabrina, they'll actually like bring up like, oh, Riverdale's where all the weird things happen. You don't want to go there, like sort of thing. Or
It almost feels like the no question should be after you've created your town.
I think maybe the superpowers questions might be 2.
I think both should be after you make your town for sure. I think we're focusing on origin and you and the person. Like anything, like the other stuff should be after you make that stuff.
Well, I mean, do we always want to put the strange occurrences in the town question, and then they're just always there? And I mean, maybe both of these questions are just always in the town question because they both could be relevant.
So no white event type thing like in the new universe for those who know what that is. Not that I recommend you run out and read it, but yeah.
Dud, what are your thoughts? Do we want to just move both of these questions down there?
I don't know. It feels like if there are superpower questions, those are bigger than your town.
Yeah.
It could be. I mean,
but
yeah.
But then like the no questions seem like they depend on what you come up with for your town.
Yeah.
I guess because
No, go ahead.
So what I'm thinking is, it feels like we're worried about if there are superpowers, it immediately becomes a bigger scope. But the way I think is like, superpowers could only be a thing from your town. Maybe your town, for some reason, people are just born superpowers, right? Because, and I guess like, I don't know if there's a way to help combat or steer away. Because like, I feel like when people think of their superpowers in the world, I think most people's brain immediately goes big. Like they immediately go into like big, and it doesn't help that there's a multi-billion-dollar franchise that is like cinematic and takes place between the movie theater and your home now.
Right.
But most people's head goes like huge, and they want to do all of this like building and scaffolding and putting all this stuff up and having like a 15-year story or something.
Yeah.
And that's fine if that's the game you and your players want to do. But
okay, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just to say, like, I'm still thinking, and maybe as I've been talking, when else thought of a way to like bring it down, that like there could only be superheroes from your town, and they don't have to be like the Justice League. It could be like, oh yeah, that guy can like control heat, and he helps out people in the winter. And like, there was a lady 20 years ago who could run like really kind of fast, not really fast, but like, you know, she could keep up with cars when they went like 40, and that's pretty impressive.
More like Baron Munchausen superpowers.
Yeah. Like, but I don't know how to do that versus just like telling people that, right?
Well, I mean, I think that can fall into some of the stroke questions early on. Like, are there superpowered people? And like, maybe we want to expand that a little bit. But I think for the most part, both of these questions are strong enough to just always be in this second set of questions.
Yeah.
And we just kind of address it. You know, we can expand a little bit, but if no, you and the players will discover the answers to the previous questions during play.
Well, 11 almost seems like what we would want to tweak the rumors to be.
Oh yeah, like what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rumors?
I'm just watching Doug type.
We're also
Yeah, it's real
Sorry,
good.
everybody. We're watching Doug type.
Well, they are too. Don't worry.
This is great content.
so good.
Yeah, and I really like, I know we do this in regular Kids on Bikes too, right? I really like that everyone gets to share a rumor. Just builds all that tension and possibilities for, you know, adventure hooks.
Is there, I think it's in each of the books too, the rumor setting.
Somebody asked a general Kids on Bikes question in chat that maybe we can address real quick while Doug is doing that. I remember when I played Kids on Bikes for a community stream, the DM had us roll for the world building questions. We only answered a few based on rolls. Is that a DM choice or built into the game? No, you're supposed to ask all of the world building questions, but the player questions are rolled on a chart.
Yeah.
The relationships,
The relationship questions are rolled.
Yeah.
But the town questions are supposed to go like in a circle. So like if we were sitting, based on the way we introduced ourselves, I would say our campaign takes place in Trenton, New Jersey, and then John would say person most revered in our town or people is our
Lord Trenton.
Lord
What's
Trenton. Do we want to do examples right now? Do we want to go through and like try to like play test it out, or we want to wait till later to do that?
I think we can keep fleshing this out and then
Okay.
play test the whole session of it.
I was
I
going
think
to
that
say
would-
the same
I think
thing.
that
We
would
should
be-
definitely play test it out. Sorry, Doug.
No, I'm agreeing. Yeah.
Okay. I really like that question 11 has Eagleton sucks. It does.
Nobody likes Eagleton.
No,
like
Pawnee,
Eagleton.
Pawnee,
Fun.
man.
Funny all the way. Little Sebastian is our mascot.
Would be a
I'm going to sing Bye Bye Little Sebastian for the rest of the night.
Okay.
Just that
Start.
over the snail video is the rest of the stream.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Take us away.
Let's do it.
No, that's how we get fired from Kids and Games.
Whoa. What's this we business? You said you were gonna say-
Someone kind of asked the question in chat, and it may be a good thing to address because Doug has notes about it in the side here. The degree of violence, or like, do we want to in the expectation setting questions, do we want to talk about stakes, or do we want to handle that in rules somewhere else?
I thought that was gonna be what's in tone, like how
Yep.
serious and spooky, or how like goofy and like.
I-
So we can add it in, being like, okay, like, do we want this to be like Teenage Mutant levels violence, or like DC Marvel Universe violence, or Invincible violence?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Or the boys, you really want to go on that one.
Oh. Oh.
I'm good.
Hands off.
I watched an episode of that and like texted my friend who suggested I watch it. Was like, hey, so like, does this change? He was like,
No,
No.
It gets worse. Yeah, it gets worse.
I was like,
just be glad you didn't read the comments. The comments are worse in every way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I read like 2 issues of the comic and I was like, what? Why did someone hand this to me?
Yeah.
Why?
And then I heard they were making a show and I was like, that can't be worse. Oh, okay.
The boys is not for everybody. Yes, I've read the entire series. So.
Do we want to ask the how violent question twice in the same question?
no, that's just I hadn't.
I think editing
Okay.
is happening in real
Oh,
time.
okay.
I don't know if that's the best way to ask it. But
How serious?
No,
or
I think that's
silly,
good.
including how violent do you want? Yeah. I do think we
Want
should
to-
call out the violence level, so I think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And would it be like good to call out like when thinking of violence, think of like a PG-13 Marvel movie or a like
yeah,
PG,
Yeah, like rated.
like a Y7, because there aren't like a lot of PG superhero movies, but there are some like Y7 like superhero things like Avatar or TMNT or
Mm-hmm.
that are like Y7 fantasy adventure.
It's
Yeah.
like, do you want Spirited Away sort of violence, or Princess Mononoke violence?
And I would say like
Yeah.
so far, Young Justice is like Y7 violence.
Yes, Young Justice is Y7. It bumps up to, I think it bumps up to Teen Season 3.
Okay, good to know.
Yes.
3.5-year-old.
Yes. No, not for Season 3, because Season 3 is was when they were just on HBO Max, not Cartoon Network, so they kicked it up a notch.
Okay.
Because they were only streaming. They were like, oh, we don't have to be approved for daytime kids TV anymore. So they kicked it up, and it's not like graphic, but there's like blood, and I think they start swearing.
Oh,
I mean, she knows there are adults.
I was just thinking from a 3.5-year-old's point of view, you know.
There
She
you go.
knows when she starts driving, she's allowed to say whatever the fuck she wants.
I love that.
You have to when you drive.
I walked in and she was just saying a parenting story here. I walked in to her in her room with my wife, just saying shit, shit. And my wife was like,
Oh,
you
right.
have to, you can't say. I was like, hey kiddo, you can't say that. Why not? Well, it's an adult word. You can't say adult words. There are certain words adults can say. When can I say it? When you're an adult. When will I be an adult? Then you can drive. Okay. So
Yeah.
so we were somewhere where they had like one of those like little like Power Wheels cars.
Oh, like the buggies with the cars on
Yeah.
them? Okay.
And she's like, Daddy, can I use that? Can I drive? I was like, that's not driving. I'm not sure if that's where you're going with this, but
That is a smart kiddo you have.
I love her.
Yeah.
I like to think that's gonna be like in the back of her subconscious somewhere. And the first time you take her out driving to like show her around, she looks over at you and she's like, Dad, and you're like, yeah, shit. And she like hits the gas. Like in her journal, she's like, remember when you drive, you can say shit.
Right. In like third grade, what are you most looking forward to about being a teenager? Driving and cursing.
Hey, so I have some questions about what your daughter wrote in their journal today.
Yeah, I don't want to derail it too much, but my wife and I have running jokes about conversations like that.
Oh gosh, I love it.
And just
Tell
a
you all
question,
during the break.
question. In addition to the violence, you want to discuss some mature themes as well? Because I'm thinking like Doom Patrol. The Doom Patrol is not violent, but they talk about some pretty mature stuff in that. Which
That's true.
Well, it's also with, I guess you can add it to tones in general.
yeah,
like
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and just like figure out your tone.
Yeah,
And then,
put it there. Yeah.
of course, always add in safety tools because we love and need them.
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
I was just gonna say that I think some of this will be answered by the suggested safety tools or laid out safety tools, however that's handled.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to have that in the tone, though. I think.
Yeah,
it's-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to grab you that hard.
I love the Doom Patrol TV show, but it's again
It's so good.
not for everybody.
Yeah.
What's his name from The Mummy has totally redeemed himself in my eyes.
Larry Trainer, yeah.
Or
I'm sorry,
no, the guy from The Mummy.
You mean the guy from the Mummy movie?
Brendan Fraser?
Yeah, Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser.
Oh, he's in there?
Oh,
Yeah.
he's so good in it.
Cliff.
Oh, I'm glad he's back
Yeah.
doing stuff. Good.
And he does it so much better than anything he's ever done in his career.
Oh, don't talk about the mummy like that. Don't you dare.
Redeemed himself from anything specifically. You kind of like hit that pretty hard there.
He had some misses.
We don't talk about George the Jungle, okay?
He's
It was
like a
good.
superhero.
I was thinking of that one movie where there was like a bunch of people.
The movie
That's-
with people in it.
Crash. Is it Crash? With all the intersecting plot lines.
Oh,
Yes.
I think it is Crash.
I just hated that movie for what it did to movies because I was like the thing for a good 6 years and I was really over it. That doesn't pertain to this.
Well, that's like the new Battlestar Galactica. They started that thing with like it was like they show you something and then it says 24 hours earlier and the whole episode is it's like, and that just every show just latched onto that. It was crazy.
Yes.
For about 5 years.
Yes. Where are we? I don't have anything for what we're doing. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Let me read this.
I'm gonna shout out Doug. Thanks for doing your homework, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
This is great. Like this is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for doing all of our
Thanks
homework.
for saving our asses, Doug. Yeah.
Hey, did anyone do their homework? I know you didn't. Here you go.
God, Doug, you're the last one on stream, so JB's asking us like, hey, so what's the theme for today? We're like,
Yeah, like
We came up with snail.
We did come up with
first,
snails.
and I was asked, "What's the theme for today?" And I was like, you should really ask Doug and Jonathan.
You know who might know? Doug and Jonathan.
Maybe you've heard of them.
Yeah, Doug's co-designed him enough that he knows he needs to carry most of the weight.
Well, then I have good news for you. I won't be here next week. No, I'm kidding.
Oh no!
Oh, Doug.
In that case, I'm not going to either.
Wait, no.
Great. Now we have folks not tuning in next week because
No. I will be here. I'll just be broadcasting from a different location, from a secret, undisclosed location in a
Oh.
Your
different
base, your superhero base, Doug?
Well, this is my superhero base.
He's got to go visit Avengers West Coast.
Very fancy. There's an exercise bike there.
Great Lakes
Bar over
Adventures.
there.
Does look-
Really?
A dying money tree. You know,
It needs light, Doug.
I was told it needs indirect light.
Doug.
Does it need like regular light?
Is there indirect light where it is? Where's the near?
It looks like it's in the dark, Doug. It looks
Oh,
sad.
There's a window over there.
That is not a big enough. Which way is that window facing? Which direction?
That's facing like what would that be? Southwest.
Get it closer to the window.
I'll move the plant. I'll move the plant.
Maybe not have it like another level of your house.
Yeah, so like indirect light, like it could be like next to a window that gets sunlight all day. It needs the sun to like touch it.
Okay, good to
How
know.
much do you water it? Oh, never mind. This isn't a plant stream.
That's right.
It could be.
Folks, this is like
This is how designers
what
do
game
it.
design is. Like
It
we do
is.
stuff for 10 minutes and then it's like 10 minutes of just like other stuff while our brains relax. Like
Yes. We have to process all that work we just did.
It's so true.
Also, Doug, report back next week on how that plant's doing.
He won't be home. He's
Oh,
gonna be,
yeah.
he's gonna
Dang
be
it.
he's gonna be
weeks.
at Avengers West Coast
Back
base.
in
He
2
won't be
weeks.
home. Yeah, I can't think of other world building questions per se.
This is such a
Looking
good
at these,
start.
Yeah, it is a good start.
it feels
And I
like
like-
a very powerful start.
And I like how we have more
Yeah.
questions for like the going around the circle thing than we typically do. But can we please even out the question numbers instead of leaving it at 11?
No.
so what we often do is like for notable local landmark, we'll have 2.
Okay.
So like then there would be really 12 questions in the list. So if we have
It's still showing 11 and it's
I think the problem is that there's 11.
Okay.
I-
All right. Okay.
We have to come up with
wait,
one more.
Or-
We either
ask-
cut one or add one.
You could ask, what do we? Okay. Wait. Let me see.
I think we should try to cut.
No. Because I like all of these. Who? Oh, because you kind of asked that. So you asked like who the 10 most revered person is, and the most feared person is, but I think a question. I don't know. Are these questions like everyone would answer for themselves? Correct. Everyone has like a chance to
Pass
answer.
around.
This is a
Okay.
pass around.
Pass
We
around.
each take a turn.
What if one? I like the idea of like feared and revered for the town, but I like it also for like you, the person. Like everyone answer that for themselves.
Mhm.
Like create another person. Like who is your character the most afraid of? Who is your character revere the most?
So then maybe we move that to character questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Solved.
Wait, which one are we moving to character? Okay, never mind. I see
The
Doug.
revered and feared.
But now we're going to be down to 9.
I tried, Morgan.
Oh.
Listen, Morgan, now it's your turn. Come up with a question. You'll have 10.
I'm looking right now. I'm in Teens in Space trying to see if there's any
See,
questions.
now we have 10. We're good.
Question about faster than light travel. Done.
Oh, ooh.
All right, I'm gonna also double check kids on brooms too, because I feel like there's only 5. You know, if it's 5, I'm okay, but if it's like 9, then
Is
like
that how you came up with rival school? Because there were 5, and you're like, well, we can't.
there's
have
6
that.
actually.
There's
So and in kids and bikes there is I think 8.
Yep.
And I don't think Teens in Space was really numbered like the others. So
And do we just want to move what group
Yeah, I mean, so
down to the
alternatively,
individual character?
not number these, and then we could, but then that makes it less of like a just go around and answer the questions in a circle.
Yeah.
No, I think we just move this one down. And then everybody can name a different group that they don't like, maybe? Or is
Yeah.
that too much?
I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
the
leave
more
it there for now.
Yeah, the more possibilities for NPCs, the better, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
That's true.
Yeah, please. As someone who GMs a lot, please make my NPCs for me.
Yeah.
Please don't make me think. Just tell. Yeah, I hate Sharon. Yeah, Sharon's super gonna have superpowers.
What's wrong with Sharon again? Yep. Okay. Cool. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, you
last
don't
night I
have to
legitimately
remember.
invented an NPC named Gustav McGuffin.
There you go.
Because they were like, "Who is this?" I was like, "He's Gustav." They were like, "What's his last name?" I was like, "Why does it matter?"
Stop asking me
We're gonna, like,
questions.
If we're gonna take him to his hometown, I was like, "McGuffin." He's Gustav McGuffin.
I start reusing names when people are like, "Who's that?" And I'm like, Jimmy. Like, we met a Jimmy like an hour ago. Yeah, there's a lot of people in the world. Not everyone has a unique name.
Right.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes there are two people named Austin that are in the same class for 4 years.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing I don't get about fiction. Like, there should be multiple people with the same name.
Like, there's gonna you need at
Every
least-
book.
There's a common name. You can't be like, not one person in your school has the same name. Not a single one.
Kristen, what was that when we played Monster Hearts a couple years ago? Were they all Chris's or like what was it again?
Oh, were they Chris's?
Yeah.
Chris's or Jason's? No, they were Chris's. Because it was like Chris B, Chris F,
Chris
Yeah.
with a K.
Chris with a K. Yes, we named like 4 NPCs in our homeroom. Chris.
It's a common name.
It is. We weren't trying to make it difficult.
And Mike Doty song 27 Jennifers.
Your name
I
is
know.
Bruce.
I at one point had befriended 15 different people named Caitlin.
That sounds about like our age frame, so I understand that.
And so I was like, I'm not befriending. If someone's named Caitlin, I can't start being friends with them. This is
Grab Max.
ridiculous. I'm at quota. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry.
You're
I'm sure you're a lovely person.
Quota of Caitlin's.
And on that note, should we take a break and then come back and try out this world building?
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
Okay.
That-
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we will be back for a little bit of light play testing. Welcome back, everybody. We are ready to give this a shot here. Team, anything before we get rolling on this?
I don't think so.
Let me just get a timer started here.
this-
Wait,
this
what?
is a
Are we
time
being timed?
test?
Are
Is
we
it-
being?
Is it open book? Can I?
We have to do this from memory.
Oh no! More
Ah!
documents.
We
So
got a
everyone's
Google
paying
Doc and
attention.
we all been kicked out.
No, just to see how long, if we're doing the world building, how long it takes, because we're going to want to just know that as part of the. My cats have decided to walk into the room and fight.
Yeah, I thought I heard. Yeah.
So that's fun.
As 6 game designers to make a world, how long could it possibly take?
Smash cut to 4 hours later. 4 hours later.
I'm so
And
tired. Please
JB
let me go
begging us to
sleep.
get off the channel. Please, we need to end the stream.
All right. So yeah, so we'll start with the questions that everybody is going to answer at the top here. What do we want the tone of our game to be? Consider the degree of violence, seriousness, silliness, how high the stakes will be, and the maturity of the themes. Anybody have any thoughts about that?
I kind of like low stakes and like towards the silly side of the scale, I think.
I like teenage shenanigans.
Okay.
So I enjoy things that feel moderate to high stake.
Okay.
Um
I'm okay with that.
I was just I'm trying to figure out where to meet for that. Because I'm of two minds. I enjoy silly teen shenanigans. But I feel like if I'm someone who's looking for like moderate high stake, I don't want to be like a wet blanket.
I like that too. I think I love it when you are able to mix both. Like, I don't know, when my brain's going to cabin in the woods, like situation where you're like, where it's very campy, very
This is
fun,
taking a
but also
turn.
where it's also very spooky. Like, and that's sort of like, you can have both. We have two hands, as a lot of people say.
So maybe higher stakes but lower violence. Like people don't get hurt very often, but when it does, it's a big impact.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or it could be, I mean, because you could have high stakes, like someone could be like, I'm gonna hack the mainframe and steal everyone's house deed. Like that's a pretty huge deal, but no one's gonna, like, it's not physical violence.
Right.
It's like, we have to stop the bad guy from like stealing like your grandma's retirement.
White collar crime.
Right.
And the of stakes doesn't have, you can still be silly like while you're having high stakes. Like you could be like punching out the big bad and like turning to your teammate and being like, was I awkward with like Bill before when I was asking him out? Like he really likes me, right? Like headlock, like nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if this were my first time sitting down with a group playing this game, when we got to this question, my first question would be, are we playing kids, teens, or adults?
That's a good question.
Because that's going to
That needs to be in there. Yeah,
change
sure.
my point of view.
That should be in there for sure. I was also thinking when you started asking, I was like, we should have it be clear the facilitator's role in these questions as well. Like, should they have a voice or should they be like, I'm here facilitate whatever you are all saying?
Oh, they should always have a voice.
Always,
GMs are players. Yeah, GMs are players. They just have different roles. Yeah.
I agree, but I'm like, should it be laid out like GMs should go first or they should wait? Or because I think that
I think it's an open conversation, honestly. Just for this part, and then when we get into the actual like world building, like the round table sort of situation. The GMs usually put themselves in, or do they usually skip themselves in that one?
Usually skip themselves in there.
Yeah,
because I feel like when things come from GMs at a table with world building, I worry about if they take the first voice. I worry about people like wanting to echo them.
And I think since we're going to do safety stuff ahead of this, that part of the conversation there is that in discussing player safety, lines, veils, X cards, whatever we wind up deciding to use, then the GM has just as much a voice as the players. Then we just make it clear in that discussion that that's true for the rest of the game as well, right? Like when I GM stuff, I just have a flat rule that, like, I mean, alignment is a bogus thing anyway, but like I don't GM for evil characters, period. Like that's not up for debate for me. And if somebody wants to do that, that's not a campaign I'm going to run. So I think
I just told the MPA a rating system for my games. My games were always pretty much PG-13, and that was it.
right.
I think that's a great thing to use too.
Yeah. Be like, this is my level of comfort of like facilitating or anything like that, or
like if it wouldn't happen to a PG-13 movie, don't expect it in my table.
Right. Except for cursing.
I guess, because you can curse. There's also a lot of it's me, I'm going to derail because I know about too much stuff. There is a historical evidence of the MPAA letting people getting away with the alleged like one F-bomb rule from multiple movies and multiple reasons.
Oh yeah, that was like in the 80s though, right? Or something, like whenever, or the 70s?
Yeah, it was sort of around the 80s. They could negotiate this stuff,
You can still technically appeal, they just often aren't approved.
Also product placement out the wazoo.
Yes. But I think of I think it's an E.T. because that one was pre-MPAA. Like the kid calls his sister dick breath, and I'm like, whoa, did he just say there are kids at this movie?
I think it was penis breath specifically, but
yes. And I'm like, hey, what he's insinuating is like a huge offense. Whoa.
Yeah,
hey
whoa.
man, if you are my sibling, you're
It's not
good.
okay.
You are across the bed. Excuse me. Yes. Are we still in questions? I'm so sorry.
We're on question 1.
This is why Doug has a timer.
This is why I said smash cut to 4 hours later.
Right.
So we could add something in about this depends on whether we're playing children, teens, or adults, but Nick, I don't think you weighed in. Did you weigh in on tone?
He mentioned the MPA ratings.
That's right.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think so. Maybe it'd streamline things if we save questions and comments for after we're through with this, or type
Sure.
them in as comments in the
Yeah.
notes so they show up for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so next question is, in what year do you want to take this campaign to take place? What are y'all feeling? I always love going mid-90s just because it's like low tech, but just enough tech.
Mm-hmm.
I'm partial to like whatever year we're in, because then I can. That's me. I enjoy just like it's 2021, and then it's just easier to not keep track of because it's easier to keep track of like.
You have to worry about anachronisms. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want to worry about like if we're like it's like 1990 and I don't know. I enjoy playing in 90s, but I also enjoy playing in modern. So I can go either. If everyone else is like I'd rather be older, then that's chill.
I'd be okay with modern.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, I'm with Austin and modern, and that's just because I'm lazy. Yeah.
Also, you have social media too to think about as well, and like how that affects like the word being around, or like Kristen was
I'm
talking
gonna
about
be
earlier about recording.
hashtagging all of my hero stuff. You're right. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
I'm gonna do
be
TikTok
taking-
dances in my uniform. Like,
taking selfies with the villain. Like, what's up? It's
The,
Yeah.
your boy.
the Miles Morales PS4 game does that so well.
It's so good.
It's so
Really? They do that? That's cool.
Yeah. Denti makes you an app that people can like report crimes and stuff with and interact with Spider-Man. So you constantly get like little Spider-Man app messages on the screen all the time.
That's so awesome.
And I think in the first one you would get like Twitter messages.
Yeah, and the first one there's like you can like check like Spidey Twitter.
Spidey Twitter.
It's
All right, let's
so-
go with modern then.
Yeah, I enjoy the S. I'm playing in a teen game like that right now where it's like modern, and my character is the one that's like at the crime scene like hashtag got him.
Are we going
So-
with modern like 2021 this year? Modern.
Yeah.
Okay. Are superheroes and heroes villains established in your world? I feel like we kind of need to say yes to go through the yes questions.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, excuse me.
How are superpowered people seen, legal status, comics, idolized, feared, vital part of the community, not real, illegal?
I think
I
so.
think
do
this
we-
question needs to go first.
Oh,
what was the
how
question?
how long? How long have superhero people existed? Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good. Yep.
Yeah.
How many ages of heroes that have existed? Are your players the first? So I think the are you players the first one doesn't need to be in there if we're going to say if there are people established in the world.
Agreed.
How long?
Well,
Yeah.
you could be part of the first generation of heroes.
Right.
Yeah, but if
Yeah, it's probably redundant. You're right.
yeah.
Yep.
I think what if we're like the second generation, but it's been a while.
Okay.
Like there was like a big old flux, maybe like in the 50s or something, or
Yep.
Yeah,
Same
like the
time.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
I
like
love
it's-
that. That's kind of the premise of the Stargirl TV show.
Mm-hmm.
oh
Is that like all the heroes, the Justice Society existed in like the 50s. A few of them died, and superheroes kind of went away. And then it's probably
Well,
not the 50s, but
It's the 90s, yeah, which is
Yeah.
like wild and depressing to me as a 40-year-old.
Yeah.
No, that opening, Joel McHale's opening with Owen Wilson, and he's like,
Oh,
I can't stress this to you enough. It's not you.
it's not Owen, it's the other Wilson, but yes.
Oh, right. Luke Wilson. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's perfect. Anyway,
He's so good in that.
so good.
Yeah, there's a series that DC did called Kingdom Come that sort of has the same thing where the old heroes retire and there's a gap and then they're going to kind of take over and it doesn't. Things could have gone better. It's a short version.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
because like they have a gap because it gives us room to like. There are people or were people, and some of them might still be around somewhere, but it's not like direct line of like there's these like oversight of like these older heroes who are going to come into our small town and like this is what it means to be a hero. They're like off somewhere, and maybe we'll meet them, but
that was kind of the whole thesis of Kingdom Come, actually. So.
yeah, that's very
highly recommended if you haven't read it. It's very good.
It's real close to Stargirl too.
I think the older heroes were so effective that like the reason they haven't been active is because they wiped out the supervillains.
Yeah, there's something to do.
Yeah, that's cool.
We're retired now. We're gonna go down to Florida and like just.
We're fine. We're here if you need us. Like, but you don't because who's gonna like fuck around and find out if Superman's there? Like,
I got a question though. I don't think we ever answered if we want to play our characters as teens, children, or adults. Did we do that?
Yeah, we did not do that. No, we didn't.
No.
It's tough because we usually don't answer that until the character creation.
Yeah.
We kind of let people do it however they want. So I'm trying to weigh how that filters into it. But if we want to...
Because go ahead, John, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was going to say because I guess it would help us depend like how far back, if we don't want them generational, like how, because generational will be like people born in the 80s or 90s being their parents. Which is because I was born in the late 80s and so would we like want to have it like maybe in the 50s or maybe in the 1900s, like do we like how far back and how much of a generational gap do we want to have?
I think probably the first generation was in the 80s sounds good, and then the generation that is their kids are where we're playing, right?
Like
kids and or just new
your parents are. Did they have a secret identity that you don't know about?
Yeah, no, I like that a lot because it leaves there's enough. Yeah, I think that's enough space. So we'd be teens to older teens, roughly. For people who like are trying to get in that frame that want that.
I think so. And if somebody chooses to play an adult, they could be powered or unpowered. But
yeah.
I think the teens could be anywhere in that range. Yeah.
And so the next one is how are superpowered people seen? Legal status, comics idolized, feared, vital.
Yeah.
I think maybe they're idolized because of how they eliminated crime for the most part, or eliminated super crime at least.
Yeah, and time, given the time that there's because people when time passes, people tend to remember the positive.
Right.
Yeah. I think there would be. I think there would be comics.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It was the 80s, so there has to be toys because the toys were a big booming thing.
Oh, yeah. There are. Yeah. Whoa. There are toys. There are cartoons. There are newspaper clippings.
And occasionally the comics are actually accurate as to what happened.
Yeah.
I think there's like one. I think like of that old generation, there's one of them who like just kind of went like, I need money and went kind of corporate, and so now they've like a whole brand.
Yo,
they've got like cartoons that still air, and they do like commercials, but I don't think they're like a sellout or like a bad person. They were just kind of like practical. They're like, no one's gonna pay me to sit around now that all supervillains have been wiped out.
Your Booster Gold character, basically.
Yeah, you're like, I need to do something. I have to like eat, and I can't just go fucking work at Kroger.
Yeah,
Like I don't have a degree. I stopped.
famous doesn't put food on my table. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't have a degree. I didn't go to school. I started fighting supervillains at 17.
Right.
I stopped
Yeah.
Mr. Mischief from stealing the moon. I'm not gonna like do your taxes, man.
And now they're at the point where they can't really they can go back to college, but they're just
Exactly. Like now you're like, I'm the Flash going to school, and everyone knows I'm the Flash. Like it's the whole thing.
Right.
yeah.
So how do people gain their powers?
Mm.
I think because it was like a big influx, it has to be like some sort of like worldwide event of some sort.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something
If it was the mid 80s, I mean, we have a lot of, Red Scare stuff that happened around that time and Cold War stuff.
It could be government experiments.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like government
the
experiments.
classic government experiment.
Was it the crop fill or the what are they saying right
Crop
now?
dusting?
No, not crop dusting.
Chemtrails, is that where you're going?
Chemtrails, yes. It was the chemtrails.
It was the chemtrails. They were all right.
Doug shaking his head no.
You know what would be wild, right? If it's like chemtrails are going to give us all superpowers. We're like, why are you upset? I don't understand. That
Do you remember what
sounds
happened in the
radical.
80s?
Yeah, I like government experimentation. I think that's good. What is the extent of the powers? So I guess that's kind of the power level question. Like,
Yeah.
are they
Yeah.
minor powers? Are they really good powers? Are they lots of different powers?
I like
Oh.
lots of different powers.
Mhm.
I don't know that I want there to be like an Omni-Man, right? Like someone who just doesn't feel unbeatable at all. It's like an overpowered character.
It's
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, like whenever you think about like I'm gonna go back to Heroes again. Heroes is gonna be my ongoing like touchstone through the whole series.
That works.
Yeah, when you go to oh god, what's his name? Siler? Is that his
Mhm.
name?
Yeah.
Tyler is
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and he felt like he was invincible until they figured out like, oh, this certain thing blocks it, and I'm like, oh, we can
Yeah.
stop him now.
Mhm.
So maybe power level, we say that the powers are like mid-range and not super. Like people only have one or two powers normally, and
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can all die. Like,
do we
I
want to
like-
kind
I
of
like
add in
that.
that there's always like some kind of trade-off?
Yeah, I always like that stakes in the game. I like very much like the superhero books where they're just not all bulletproof, because a lot of times
Yeah.
that's the trope is once you get superpowers, suddenly you like can take a lot more damage, even though that's not in your power set.
Yeah. It's like always like
Yep.
an underlying like, and you have some invulnerability, and it's like, well, okay. You
Well, yeah,
can't
you
all-
almost need it to support everything. Like if you had super strength without vulnerability, your bones would just turn into pulp. When
Yeah, you're gonna
fucking
punch
survive.
one wall, and your arm's gonna be like, okay, goodbye. Which I
that's
really,
just like arms just come off from the friction.
yeah, which
Yeah.
I really like in. I don't know if anyone else here watches My Hero Academia, but the way they handle that, because the one thing I love, every kid's a main character, which is
Mhm.
an incredible way. Like when I watch it, when I think about GMing, because every kid's a main character. The other thing that's really cool is like they have to learn how to use their powers. They're
Mhm.
like, you're super strong. Your bones are still human bones. If you kick a car as hard as you can, you're going to break your leg. You can't do that until you like train your body to like up to where your powers are. Because like the kid's power ceiling is like non-existent,
Mhm.
but his body's still a like 14-year-old body. So like you can't just like throw a car into space because you're gonna break your back.
You're gonna make me watch My Hero now, aren't you?
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, I need to. It's been on my list for a long time.
So
how,
I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
how is the world different because of the superpowers? Technology, history, global
Ooh.
politics, etc.
I
Probably like
mean, obviously
probably-
big media influence that happened, like a big pop culture media influence that happened.
Right.
Mhm.
Is the world okay? My pitch is the world more united through these heroes that, in my head, maybe they came from all over.
Yes.
Yeah.
like
Is
a world superhero
like-
organization.
Yeah, like is the world more not like a utopia or like a there's absolutely no borders, but is it like less and gestures to like how real world is?
I think it's maybe not
Yes.
utopia, but it seems more idyllic.
Yeah,
Like maybe there's a council. Like maybe they form a council. And they
yeah,
came together that way.
Maybe it was something they did after they like stopped supervillains. You know, they're like, well, now what can we do? And it's like, well,
Right.
we're a symbol of hope to like every human in the world right now because like we just defeated Dr. McEvil Doom from Planet Doom. What else? What can we do with this platform? And maybe they like created some kind of actual cooperation that's lasted.
That was one of the really interesting things in Jupiter's Legacy that I was really sad when they canceled it because they're starting to explore that.
Yeah, that makes sense. One, if they're retiring to Florida, it means the world is safer than gestures to real world like Austin. So and also it does call into question the morals, right? Like an invincible Adam Eve just kind of helps food grow and gives water to people who are thirsty. I mean, wouldn't superheroes be doing that? So the world would be in a better place.
That was something. The question I was going to were any of these first gen heroes technology based? Because if they were, some of that could have spun off to society as a whole now. Because we've taken care of everything. Now we can sort of sell. Again, a way to make money, sell off the technology, right?
Yeah, I like that.
If they're the results of experiments, though, they might not be, unless it's
that's why I'm asking.
Super smart.
Were the first gen ones?
Yeah, no, I think we're like still modern technology. Like it hasn't accelerated that.
Yeah, I don't think it's excelled, but I think it's like societally things feel better.
Yeah.
I think one of them was like a Jeff Bezos knockoff. Therefore, we have like one of those like super comical like cameras.
You just couldn't resist it, huh?
Look, I got see like someone like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, someone in like tech, like just y'all said someone who's like corporate now.
Oh yeah.
They
don't suck. Okay, they don't suck.
Okay, they're the good
They're good corporate.
How's those words should not mix, but like.
Well, I was when I said corporate, I couldn't think of another word for like they are like a public face, like
they're a brand.
They're a brand. They don't like.
They're
still powers, but
they're an
not,
influencer.
Yeah, they're like what they would.
I know, but good corporate would make sense if they were a superhero originally and they set up a company. They're going to run the company based on the ideals they presumably fought for when they were.
That's true.
Yeah, in this world, in this fantasy world, they have like found a way to be like, like I need you something to survive, but I don't need like a mansion. Like I lived in a cave before. It's really.
Yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing that the boys did do.
Dolly Parton.
Yeah,
Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
Yes. Okay, what kinds of adventures / missions do we envision our team going on? Local, national, global, intergalactic. I think local.
I think at first very local.
Yeah, I would say local.
Because there isn't this international crime, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so then we go into the town building questions. Do you want to lead us through those?
Yeah, we can do that.
Sure.
What did I miss?
Sorry, everyone. In our old screens.
Right? Oh, I didn't read the chat.
Jolene was a song about that Dolly Parton about someone she saved.
I don't know why Jolene popped in my head, and I was like, how do I incorporate this into this game? But this is where
I'm sorry. Wait, are you saying that Dolly Parton is one of these heroes in this world? Is that where you're saying?
That's canon now. Dolly Parton was one of the first generation of superheroes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
It's canon. All right. So our campaign takes place in, and do we want to just pick somebody to start with this one, Doug, or go around the table?
Yeah, let's just go around the table.
Morgan, you're first.
Okay. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Our campaign takes place in Fresno, California. No, that's a big city. I'm thinking like West Coast on the ocean.
Yeah.
Okay. Ocean Town, California.
Ocean City. Oh, that's actual. Like that's in Steven Universe. No, wait.
Yeah. Ocean Town is a smaller town.
Ocean. Yeah.
Ocean Town.
Oceanville.
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 Yeah. All right. Nick, the most shocking crime in our town's recent history was?
Does our town have an art museum?
It does now.
It was robbed.
All right. Kristen, our town's main industry is?
We're a coastal town.
Mm-hmm.
Fish, seafood.
All right. Austin, economically, our town is flourishing, floundering, growing, etc.
In between, I think growing with like people think we're about to hit it for some. I don't know what the reason is, but there's a reason that like all of the adults are like, this is it. That we're about to like skyrocket.
Do they think like
2022 is going to be Oceanville.
Yeah.
do they think that like do they think like maybe like there's like going to be like is Dolly Parton going to be coming in and like making it like I saw your Dolly World note in here, so
I think they've like Dolly Parton's coming for like the crab crack off in 2022. So this is we're skyrocketing after that, baby. It's easy street.
Morgan, a secretive group in our town is.
oh no, I gotta name a thing.
No, John, you have to do one and I have to do one.
Oh, I was letting you take notes and I was just pretending they were players.
Oh, okay.
unless you want it, Doug.
Yeah, Doug.
Yeah, I'll jump in. A secretive group in the town is the Longshoremen's Union.
Okay.
Oh, cool. I like that.
And does anybody else have one? Because we're going to repeat that. Oh, we don't have 6 players, so don't repeat that one. Then back to Morgan, a notable local landmark is.
I'm trying to think. I want something nautical.
Like a giant weird fish statue.
I was thinking like a big old whale statue.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
And how is it historically relevant? What happened with that whale?
Not to put you on the spot.
I know, right? I gotta like improv on the stuff.
Yeah.
So I think with the whale, what had happened was back in the day, there was a story that there was like it's an old legend. We don't even know if it's true or not, but this town reveres in it that someone decided to catch a whale off of just the cliffs off the side. And they were able to like catch it somehow. Like, but you're just a man. And they're like, oh, he was more than just a man. He was able to catch a whale. And you're like, all right, Grandpa. Like,
just on a normal fishing line.
Yeah.
All right, so we have to repeat this with 3 or 5 players. I think next was Nick. So another notable local landmark.
I like shipwrecks. I want to go with a shipwreck.
Oh, like visible from the town?
Yeah, that's like it's on the beach. It's on the beach, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I love shipwrecks.
And how old is it?
I want to put an age of sail. I like wooden ships. Big fan.
And are people allowed around it, or are they kept away?
Let's say they're kept away. I like that.
Yeah,
I would try to climb all over it, but that's me.
Absolutely.
Same though.
Kristen, our town school mascot is, and what's the name of our school too? You get a bonus question.
Oof. I'm ready with the mascot. I'm not ready with the name.
Oh, we'll go ahead with the mascot first. Then if anybody comes up with a name.
Naming things is my Achilles heel. The school mascot is a pirate, but instead of a parrot on his shoulder or her shoulder, it is a small version of the whale. That is the legend of our town.
That's some small town bullshit right there. That's some shit. You're like on a road trip, going to your Airbnb, and you're like, what's that? And you're like, I think that's a pirate with a whale. Where are we?
Anybody have a name?
I mean, I have an obvious one.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Oceanville High.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You're like, what could it be named? And I'm like, guys, we're a small town. The
Yeah.
names aren't hard.
Yeah, I feel like that's
Yeah.
almost always going to be the name, right?
There's
Yeah.
Oceanville Middle, Oceanville High, and then there's like various preschools.
But they're all named like the Little Fish Academy.
Yes.
The Warferman Academy,
Little Narwhal.
Little
Little
Narwhal.
Narwhal.
Little
Austin, a local hangout for kids is
I think all the kids hang out on the boardwalk nearest to the shipwreck and like theory craft about why the ship is there and why they're not allowed on it.
and why it doesn't decay. That's weird, right?
Yeah, that's like the whole thing is like, yeah, I heard that, you know, some villain from like super long ago, like 1991, like threw it here on top of Dolly Parton, and that's why we can't go touch it.
And Doug, give us another local hangout.
Local hangout is the boardwalk.
Yep, that's the one that Austin just said.
That Austin just said. Okay.
You were just verifying.
I was verifying, right? Yep, just confirming it's the boardwalk.
Under the boardwalk.
It's the competing boardwalk. No,
Are they like a half mile from each other? They can see each other.
They
Like
can
the-
see each other.
It's the not
They're just
boardwalk,
separated by
it's
the shipwreck.
The walk
Yes.
board.
no. Local hangout is let's go wholesome. The local library is a hangout for a bunch of people because they have excellent programming, and are just great places for communities to thrive.
PSA, support your local libraries.
And librarians are the real heroes. Awesome. And then let's go around the table and everybody give me a rumor that they've heard about strange occurrences that have happened lately in the town.
Oh, I got one.
Yeah.
People have been seeing some weird glowing in the waters at night,
Ooh.
like blues and greens, just like underneath the water surface. But
But
you know,
everything's
the adults are calling it it's just jellyfish migrating through. But like, yeah.
All right. Who else has one?
Strange mists have been showing up at like times when mist wouldn't normally be part of the weather.
Ooh.
It's like daylight in the middle of the day, and there's just like a mist rolling through.
Mist just shows up, yeah, and like a couple blocks.
Strange mists. I like it. Who else?
Someone is restoring the beaten down lighthouse, but no one knows who it is, and they haven't been able to figure out who's doing it or even when. It just like
It's
happens.
slowly repairing.
Yeah.
I like that. Kristen or Austin?
I think there has been movements or shadows seen in one of the old houses that was turned into a museum for the town, the Oceanville Museum.
Okay.
My rumor is that people are saying there's two kids over in Sharksville, you know, our rival, that are starting to develop what people think are superpowers. One kid's been running really fast, and one kid like totally lifted a car over his head. My sister saw it.
Oh, nice.
They didn't get it on video though.
No, her phone was dead, but she super saw it.
She swears.
He lifted like 4 cars.
All right, so we just did world building in 34 minutes and 43 seconds.
Yeah, with a couple of
Yeah.
tangents. That seems right.
Yeah. Yeah, that felt good. I feel like there's lots of nice little hooks to work off from.
Like, what's up with Dolly Parton?
Mhm.
Who's Dolly Parton doing like superheroes with?
She doesn't normally go West Coast. So should we maybe cut it here and then come back next week and talk about this and come up with some questions and things we're missing?
I think we should talk about it while it's fresh.
Okay.
So yeah, my first thought is like really just looking at this initially, I thought there would be way too many questions. Like flashback to the time, John, we were working on Teens in Space when we had the playtester
full
tell us.
page?
What's that?
A full page and a half of questions, like 8.5 by 11.
Well, no, when the questions that we have when the playtesting group recorded a 2.5 hour creation session.
Oh,
Oh my God.
Yeah. An hour and a half of it was them talking about what snacks to have.
I mean, those are
Out
important
of-
questions,
out of
though.
game.
Oh,
And they were
I
like,
mean-
yeah, it's too long. I was like,
That's
you
on
play
us.
too much. That's the issue. Like,
We should have put what snacks you're allowed to have in the rule book.
yep.
No, I felt like it was good and punchy.
I did too.
and I think
Yeah.
maybe we could cut it down maybe to like 35 if we didn't distract so much, because I think we did.
Yeah.
go off on a
Because
little
there's a
bit of
part where we
tangent.
went into like design mode of like, oh, we should ask this and this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we hadn't done that, we'd be close to 30, which I
Yeah.
think is a good spot. But I also wonder if that's because of who we are. Like, I wonder.
Well, it'd also be shorter if superheroes aren't established.
Yes.
True.
True.
Very true.
That'll
Yeah.
cut a good 10 minutes off minute at least.
So
If
30 minutes on the
it's
long
just
side.
like, are there superheroes? No. Moving
No.
on.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And that could be a thing that we put in about quick start. Like, if you want to quick start this, there aren't superheroes. Go on.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does anybody have negative like when I play test, I usually focus on like negative things that people didn't like. So did anybody have anything they didn't like about it?
I don't have anything I didn't like. I agree with what Kristen asked about like if we are kids, teens, adults.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying about like not worrying about until character creation because like you want the world to be built.
But I think it's also with genre and setting that we're gonna be
Yeah, with
playing
the
this
tone
weekend.
genre setting, like I do agree. Like if we're gonna be like if even one or two people like want to be kids, like 10-year-olds, I'm like, okay. If I'm
Changes
like
things.
a 19-year-old and there's like a 10-year-old and there's a villain who like shoots magma, like instinctually I'm going to want to protect them and not be violent and like get away from the fight. Even if we
Mhm.
agreed for like, slam brawl, like going through buildings, like over the top superhero stuff.
Yeah, I think it probably should be part of this tone. Because having an idea of what we're playing will
Even
help
if
us
there's
set
a even if
tones.
just like a note, right? Not if you have to decide now, but have a
Yeah.
note of like consider this when character creation as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
even and maybe not here, but like in character creation, like remember the tone you agreed upon when.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, if we have like an ultra violent tone and we're like, two of us want to play like 8-year-olds, and you're like, are we all good with this?
Right.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
agreed for ultra violent tone. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna be a super violent 8-year-old. I understand you think that's like fun, but I don't
Right.
want to think about like, oh, the 8-year-old just like got impaled with a spike. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
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 So maybe,
maybe-
a note, if nothing
Yeah, I was
else.
gonna say maybe a note. Yeah.
Like we had for a few other things. There's something else I thought of.
John, are you getting that, or you need me to type it in?
I got it.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Doug.
Thanks, note people. Anytime I want something, I'm terrified to touch the notes. I'm like, I'm gonna delete the whole doc. I just know it. I'm gonna delete it and then delete their Google account, and then they'll be gone forever.
It doesn't exist anymore. We don't exist anymore. What is existence?
I feel like I'll turn into like the dad from the Mitchells versus the Machines and just like, oh no, I've just deleted Google.
That is a delightful movie.
It is.
It's a very good movie.
I'm not sure about the sequence yet.
Yeah, I think we can analyze that some more. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
But I feel like the notes are all there. Maybe not in the right order, but
Yeah.
I just gotta tweak it and edit it. And...
Yeah, by the end of it, I had something that like I do kind of want to play right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we started creating something. Definitely.
So, did we actually write down what we said, or is it just like lost to to the powers of the recording, and then we'll have to find it out later.
Yeah, I did not write any of that down. That's on me.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Because the reason I was asking is like we can keep building off of that each time we go through a certain area. Like we can just like use that.
Oh yeah.
Well,
No,
the
that's fine.
Twitch chat can remind us. Everybody will remember.
Yes, Twitch chat, your homework for the next week.
Yeah.
The entirety of my brain power was reserved for remembering the order I asked questions in, so I could.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. I don't know if this needs to be added. I'm just thinking it through. But what were under adventures and missions and the scope, if they go intergalactic, are there other species? And the only reason that comes to mind is because you could weave in to your Kids in Capes game
To
your teens in space species.
Multiverses. It's gonna be the Marvel superhero, like just, and then somehow they're gonna wind up in the Kids and Brooms like genre.
Wait till we get to the powers thing. I said one of the things, like you look at the superhero worlds, but DC Marvel have magic as well as superpowers. So my advice, if you want to do magic, this right there, it's a great system. Just
It's a very small tangent, but my favorite GMing experience was at Grand Con a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Banana Chan was GMing a Kids on Bikes game or Dads on Mowers game.
And
so good.
I was GMing Teens in Space, and we're running them at the same time. And an hour and a half into it, we crashed all the teens into the dad's planet and put the tables together and made them deal with each other.
Oh my god, it's so perfect.
So
I love that.
It was so good.
Very, very, very funny story. I live in Grand Rapids where Grand Con takes place, and I have never been able to make it.
Oh,
The
we
last
need to next year when it's back.
The last 2 times it happened the same day as an event I helped put on, that's just smaller in town. And yeah, it's very, it's really weird that it happens near my house, and I've never made it.
Yeah, remind me closer next year, and I'll talk to Brian and get in as a guest.
Oh, that'd be
maybe
great.
Run some games and stuff.
I'll bring the baby.
Yeah, babies love conventions.
Because this year it was I was like, oh, maybe I'll people are like, are you gonna show up? And I was like, I mean, maybe there's a high chance the baby will be getting here on that day. So if baby gets here before then I may try and pop in, but I will also probably not know what time or day it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right, so do we want to move to Stars and Wishes, or does anyone else have any notes that they want to address here?
I don't.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about what we've done so far and what we put together question wise. So I am okay. Do we want to do homework questions now or after Stars and Wishes?
Maybe after.
Yeah, logically doing after.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right. Are we watching Doug type again? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. It's engrossing. I don't remember how we did Stars and Wishes last time. So do we want to?
I think Doug started it.
Doug started last time. Not to put you on the spot, Doug.
The ordained order there, yeah.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, a star for me for sure was the playthrough and how that came together. I thought really well, and how that generated a world that, like I said, I would be excited to play in. And then a wish for next time has to do with the thing that I think we should work on for next time. So I'll just save that for when we get to what I think homework should be.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think my star was definitely playing through the character creation. I really enjoyed it and it flowed well. And my wish is that we can kind of keep going back to that as we play test different versions. I hope that's a thing we can continue.
Mhm.
I'm writing it down, so that's why I'm not talking.
Oh, thank you. Now, who wants to go next?
I think my star is just that we seem to have gotten a lot done pretty fast. You know, even with like normal tangents, which are fun and important, I think, for design, because your brain has to stop and process and then come back. We still got it done. So I think that was great. I don't know that I have a wish. I think just the momentum, which I think is kind of just piggybacking on what's already been said. I just want to keep going with the momentum because it feels like the first session we did a lot of brainstorming, which was great. And now we have actual momentum and I want to keep going to, you know, make the game.
Yes.
I would say star is, I think what'll be the star a lot of times is to us, we rock. I think, yeah, piggybacking off Kristen said and what others have said, like keeping the wish is like, just like keep the momentum we have. I was like nervous because I've done a few design things, but like the biggest design team I've been on was like 3 of us, and it was 2 of us for most of it, and then like we brought on a 3rd person, so I was worried about like and I know all of you have like done more work than I have in the field of games, so I was worried like, will there be too many cooks in the kitchen? Are we gonna like get on and I'll be like want to make like a totally different game? So it's been very exciting for me. I appreciate people bringing me on when I'm not as like seasoned as the rest of you, and like having like creator credit type stuff.
And that's what we need, though. Yeah, we need. I can't say I'm an old hat because I've only designed 3 things, and 2 of them were for our kids on bikes. So we need fresh eyes.
I can. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you have a wish, Austin, or was it just keep the momentum going?
That was the wish. Sorry, I was very unclear. I didn't say star or wish. I just started talking. I'm good at this.
Yes, you are.
Nick or Morgan, neither of you have gone.
Morgan.
I'm taking notes. You go first, Nick.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I think actually the star for me was the world building was great, especially as someone who's like a zillion years old and comes from an era where the world building landed squarely on the GM traditionally, in which it was pretty much me the entire for most of my life. So it was that was great. I really enjoyed that. It's fun. And like Doug, I agree with Doug. I would really want to just start playing that world right away.
Is that your wish? You really want to play this world?
I don't really have a wish, but if I did, that would be it.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Notes are hard. Control V. Boop. Okay. Stars for me, definitely for us. Like, we all knew what we wanted to do. Well, my star is Doug's pre-notes. Doug's homework. We all sort of bounced off.
Yes.
That's the real star here. And I really love how we were all able to focus and come together and like really flesh things out without, spending, what'd you say, 2 hours, 4 hours? Yeah. I made a note, but for a wish, but it's for like another project where I want to, whenever we get the teamwork episodes or like character creation, we shall tell it teamwork makes the dream work, but that's just where my brain went. But another wish, I just want to keep this ball going. I'm really excited about what we're doing, and like I really want to keep like what Jonathan said, bouncing back to what we said today. So I'll have to watch the VOD or try to remember. And yeah.
All right, so Doug, you want to lead homework?
Yeah, so I think there's 1 or 2 directions we could go with this. In terms of we're moving through the sort of book in terms of what would come next in terms of what the player experience would be, next part would be creating characters. Though sometimes I think after Kids on Bikes, we would go to the character creation questions to think about what those relationships would be as a way to inform what we do with that, like a sort of an education, like kind of backwards design thing.
No, that makes total sense.
I thought, are we going off design wise, going backwards, or are we just following the book? Like, is
that's the question. So do people feel like we could jump to character creation questions for next week, or do we feel like we should do individual character creation first before relationships?
I think character creation next week.
Okay.
when you say character creation, do you mean the relationship questions or the individual for each tropes?
The tropes, the strengths, if we're going to keep those.
So that is character creation then, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So in Kids on Bikes, it would be the stuff page like 9 to
yeah, selecting a trope, character stats, character ages,
so it would
selecting
be like
strengths and flaws. Yeah.
9 to 14.
Okay.
And then also the appendices for
The actual trope stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the actual tropes, which we don't have to stat them out, but just like what tropes do we want to keep, what tropes are we missing, and then thinking about some strengths.
Okay.
Kids on Bikes, pages 9 through 14. At least familiarize with the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can spell. There we go. Look at tropes and see what we want to keep. And possibly add on.
Yeah, and any changes we're going to need to any part of this creation process for.
Mm-hmm. Any other homework?
Keep watching our shows.
Yeah, I think
For media.
Yeah.
Blood dug with mac and cheese recipes.
Guys, so in the chat,
Things are happening in the chat.
people have bad opinions about macaroni and cheese.
Yeah,
Doug
has stated his very bad take on macaroni and cheese.
Doug, when you come here next year when Grand Con happens,
Yep.
I will make you mac and cheese, and you'll be right again.
You'll be like, God damn, this is creamy and crunchy. It
like,
can be both.
this is good. Listen, you put it. Okay, so you're baking the mac and cheese, and you have the foil on, and then you take it out.
See, I'm just like taking notes here, minding my note, listen to your butt. Look at the chat. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
It's a mac and cheese war.
I have very strong opinions on
like ice cream tacos and ice cream sandwiches.
Listen,
Listen.
I will fight about ice cream sandwiches. I will fight about mac and cheese. I will fight about pizza arcades, and I will fight about silverback gorillas. So which one's it gonna be?
Wow.
I don't want my mac and cheese to crunch. I don't want my mac
That's
and cheese.
fine. You can eat the middle part. You don't have to eat the outer crunchy parts.
It's like a brownie.
I'm wasting my time baking it. I can pour my cheese sauce over it, and I'm good. It doesn't need to be baked. I gain nothing from the baking if I'm not having the crunch.
You absolutely gain stuff from the baking. It oozes in more.
How are you
storing
your leftovers? You want to eat soup?
In his pockets, I guess.
No, the sauce absorbs into the pasta, and then it's beautiful.
It's a mac and cheese soup. It's not done. You gotta.
It's not soup. It's not soup. It's not soupy.
You're basically eating cereal at that point.
Listen, all right, y'all have a good night.
All right, folks, the real work has ended, but feel free to weigh in on Twitter about appropriate mac and cheese. I know I'm going to get.
There's a correct answer.
Yeah, please let Doug know how bad his take about mac and cheese is.
Yes. Please add us on Twitter about this mac and cheese debate.
Yeah, at me. At me.
Someone in the chat says they're Canadian and mac and cheese is a staple, no crunch, unless they add bacon.
Oh. Bacon.
Not bacon.
Listen, they're talking
Hey,
about craft dinner though, is what they're talking about, Doug.
Canada.
No,
Hey, Canada.
no.
Whoa.
And they also put
Whoa.
ketchup on it. Are you on the ketchup tip,
Whoa.
Doug?
I'm not on the ketchup tip.
What
Well,
is-
then you don't get to side with the
A little bit of
Canadians on
Dijon
it.
mustard mixed into the sauce.
Okay.
Yeah, make it
Doug,
soupier,
this
sure.
is where I draw the line.
No,
Sure, just-
Dijon mustard's
I'm
good.
Delicious.
Just some
Cheddar cheese and
water.
Dijon mustard is great.
You're gonna put some water in it, make sloppy steaks.
What?
What?
JP's yelling.
We
JP's
strayed
yelling
so
at
far
us.
from your light, Lord. So far from the light.
All right, everybody, have a good night.
Have a good night. Go eat the macaroni and cheese.
Okay, bye.